Hello everybody, this is Clarence, your local Unreal Engine guy from Singapore. So today we're going to look at the tutorial that I made with the new feature in Unreal Engine 5.5. This came out a year ago with Unreal Engine 5.2. This is Substrate Material. Substrate is a new Unreal Material system that's going to be different from the usual traditional Unreal Materials. Setup here you see here is a bit different. And I'm going to show an example how to create a simple snow shader that's can be used on landscape. And you also have a feature to able to change the surface, the different layers. So there'll be 2 layers. So the textures will change. So the example of the material. So this material is using a new substrate system. And how do you know it's a substrate is you look here, the end of the material is a bit different. It's different from the traditional layers here. And we're actually looking at the final feature is actually final outcome actually applying to the front material instead of the traditional base color and different feature. So this is how I do the setup. And we're going to end up creating this substrate material. And then it's going to blend the background and the foreground. So here you can see that I will start with the first layer first. The first layer we're going to use substrate slab and set up something like this. So this whole thing is the first layer, which has different texture I downloaded from Quizzles, which is fat.com now. We also have like the texture like base color, roughness, normal map, and also displacement. And this texture is going to go through a masking setup, and which will mask out to another layer, which is the second layer. So the second layer is actually the background. So here's the second layer background. And it's also a texture that I also downloaded from fat.com. The both of them will actually blend together. And the result will be something going through a substrate horizontal blend, and then there's a pixel depth offset connected to it. So how do I change it? I can change the different setup using the blend contrast. With different numbers here, you can see that I can change the value. And like the value 1, if I change 2 to a different value, like maybe different, then you see the shading actually, the blending will be changed. So that's how we're gonna achieve it, the whole overview of this tutorial. So stay tuned, let's move on. Okay, we're gonna start the tutorial by within level, and then the first thing we need to do is actually to make sure the substrate is turned on. So we gotta go to edit, project setting, and type substrate. Now over here the substrate set function, we gotta make sure all the function is actually turned on. So you see that I already turned on already, but if you haven't turned on, if you turn on, the editor will ask you to restart. So just restart the editor again. If you don't turn on and the function won't work. So now we're gonna turn on, after we turn on the substrate, we're gonna create a new material from scratch. So let's go ahead and create a new material. And somebody already has some examples already, but I will do another snow material. So just name it snow 2 material. And make sure I save it. Double click to launch the material editor. So you see from here, this is a substrate material. I'm gonna go full screen. So substrate material is different from the legacy material. And if you compare it here, the end result is also is planted to the front material instead of the usual output that you recognize. But the default output that you see is actually under the substrate EV4 default shading nodes here. So you actually has the traditional legacy will still work if you convert it to it. So they actually have this node. Now we're gonna use this EV4 default shading. We're gonna use another node called substrate slab. So go ahead and add a substrate slab. So this is under the substrate BSDF. It's a bit longer, but you see there's a lot of function, including the subsurface scattering. It has the PBR setting and also the subsurface scattering together. So I'm going to plug in the diffuse albedo to the front material and delete the UV4 shading. Now, how do we start this one? Let's import some texture first, which I downloaded from pad.com. So you see here on my content browser, under it, and I have this fresh node material. Under the fresh material, I have a lot of different texture. So I will use it for my first layer. Drag in the base color, then drag in the normal texture. We don't need all of them, but just use of them only. For this case, I'm also going to use the roughness texture. So the straight texture at the moment. To also look at the one of the texture that can be used, opposite texture. I don't have opposite texture, so I have to use maybe a transmission texture instead. So this will also be used as a masking texture. And this setup is, how do we set up here? Now we're going to plug in the base color to diffuse albedo, and then the roughness to roughness, and then normal to normal, and then this transmission texture we're going to plug into the subsurface scattering MFV scale. And then for the base color, I'm actually going to also plug into the subsurface scattering MFV. So you have two nodes connecting here. So with this, save it. And I already have a first look of the first material, the first texture. You see this is how it looks like. This is a very simple setup. So let's see how it looks like in the scene. So what we can do is, let's assign this material to assign it to the floor, and then we can see the result. Which is this actually default look at it if you just use the fab.com, fabtexture.com. And let's put maybe a sphere to test out also how it looks like on the object. Assign to it, and let me just move it out this a bit, and then maybe rotate the camera when I see the lighting and shadows. So this is a good angle. So probably gonna put here, so I will maybe rescale the material editor so I can able to adjust while seeing the final result. So with this one, it's kind of simple setup where we actually did. Now we're going to add more further features to it. Maybe I'll just go full screen for more space. Now I'm going to start with the F0 and F9, which is the index for the upper layer and or lower layer. F0 is the upper layer, F90 is the below layer. So this purpose, I'm going to use the scalar parameter. This one, I'm going to type F0, intensity. And I'm going to plug into F0. To second one, maybe I'll just duplicate the scalar parameter, but I'll change it to F90 intensity instead. So that way I also can adjust the different setup. Okay, just plug into F90. As for the number value, F0 intensity I'm gonna change it to 0.2. And then the F90 intensity I'm gonna set it to 0.5, so it's a bit different setup. Now, at the moment, you still don't see anything different yet because it's still under the first layer setup, but we're going to adjust it to have different parameters to change the blending. So let's move it over here. So now we can continue to set up. I'm looking at the subsurface scattering, and I feel that I could set out something here. But I want more control, so I want to set out a little bit more set out to it. So move the things away. I want to set out something here to control the subsurface scattering. I will start actually with a multiply first, a multiply node. And then multiply I'm going to connect to the, also apply to the scalar parameter. One of the things about shortcut scalar parameter is press S and click, then you have the scalar parameter. This scalar parameter I'm going to name it subsurface scattering intensity, which is to control the SSS. I want to apply, maybe I'll start with the 0.1 first, and then apply to the multiply. And then the multiply, I'm going to, before I connect to the surface scattering, I need to create maybe a saturate node to just after multiply. So the multiply will connect to saturate, and the saturate will connect to the MFV scale. So this will control this whole setup. At the same time, I'm gonna save first. Oh, looking over here, I need to set up something also for the MFV. So what do? I'm going to use the same setup here. Let's move it a little bit more space. More space a bit away. I could now directly copy these three nodes that I created, and oops, this is not a comment. These three nodes again, and then Control C to copy and paste it here. So now I have another set of same connection. I'll just going to adjust it. So this going to attach to the base color. This one here I will change it to SSS color instead of intensity. So this will actually change the color. This one here, the value I'll change to 2, a bit more brighter, and the saturate I'm going to apply into MFP. So now that I set out the first layer already, so the entirety will be my first layer. So I need to always save. So this entire thing, the first layer, is going to be this how it looks like in the actuals, how we apply the real scene with lighting. So also can try the SSS intensity, and if you try to change, you can't really see the differences. It may be a little bit difference on the shadow there because it's affecting the subsurface scattering function. Okay, so a little bit, some feature very small, you cannot really see clearer. Even the essence color also can change it. You can see slight changes, but not really much, but maybe not noticeable changes. Now let's continue on to set out a bit more. So the first layer, we'll leave it. So we're going to create a mask next. This mask is going to move forward to the second layer. So I'll move this away, more space. Next, I'm to take this node and I'm going to, let's move this side a bit, more space. I will pull this, I'm going to pull this node. Okay, which is that one. I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to connect it to 1 minus. So this one actually will reverse the look of the texture. If you want to see, you can actually expand it and you change it to start preview node. You see that it's actually opposite. The white color will turn black and the black color will turn white. You also can see it if you open the node. Okay, it's really opposite. I'll turn this off, but you can turn it on anytime you want. For this, I'm going to create contrast. So the next thing is that I will now remove this a bit, and now create a cheap contrast. This one node I'm going to put in front of the 1 minus, just kind of plug 1 minus to it. And then I'll create another scalometer for blend contrast. Okay, so you're going to use this a lot later to adjust the blending. So just got to apply it to the contrast. This will be my main control for the function for blending. After I've done this one, right, we're going to continue to blend into the second material or even out to the final shader. So the next thing is, let's create a substrate horizontal blend. So what does this actually is going to blend to another layer. Coming here is the first layer is going to be the foreground, and then the cheek contrast is going to apply into the mixture. And now let's connect this one to the front material. But before that, let's see how the second material. Let's maximize it. So for the second layer, we need to create a new substrate slab. Move it a bit. So this one is going to connect to the background. And then we're going to import the second layer texture. So over here, I also download from the fair.com, which is the set from snow cover ground will be my second layer. For this second layer, I'm going to use the base color, normal, and then the roughness, and the third one, fourth one, I'm going to use the either displacement, specular, or gloss. So either these three may be an option. But for this case, I'm going to use the gloss texture. So put inside, and then start arranging the connection. Normal texture to normal. Base color to diffuse albedo. Roughness will be roughness. Okay, because the diffuse also where I can apply to subsurface MFP. So this one will connect to roughness, and then this is the connect to the SMF MFP scale. Okay, so we set up. This is the second layer set up already. It's very simplified, but it's okay. But we're gonna connect to the background. Then the horizontal blend are gonna connect to the front material, and you'll see the final result here. Let's create a scalometer for pixel depth offset and plug it to the pixel depth offset. But I'm gonna keep it at 0. Okay, so let's save it and let's check out the. So what is kind of more close to the final result, but let's go to the blend contrast there. Let's say if I turn the blend contrast from value 1 to maybe 0, what happened? When I change the blending, right, the look changed away for the surface. If I turn it to 0, you see the snow a bit more. If I put negative, there will actually be more. Okay, let's look at the actual example into the scene. So, but for that, let's put the 0 first, and let's look at the actual viewport scene. For if we want to use this for the landscape, right, we actually can adjust how much snow is appear. So if a bit snow, I'm going to change the blend contrast a bit to be like less contrast, and you'll see a little bit cover out the whole thing. So we can go to negative value if you like for the blend contrast. Nothing is that you can do is actually go on the first layer and also change to an M0 density. So what is going to go to the F0 and then change from 0.2 maybe to higher number. But the effect is very subtle, it's not very big. But you can still modify it for both F0 and F90 intensity. So this is how actually we set up a substrate material. Okay, a snow material, substrate material. And so I mean, then you can actually frame them together with a comment bracket to make it all more organized now before you pass around the file. So this is the final result. You can use it as a background. Okay, these layers actually have the flexibility to change the outlook. Okay, so a very simple snow substrate material. If I change the material anytime, I will actually have the different look. So I will always compare the material to the character in scale, so to see if it's working or not. And if I want to make it to be more or less snow, I just open out the material editor, and I'm going to press adjust the blend contrast. The blend contrast, if I change it to a bit lower or negative value, the sky actually will the snow actually will cover the background. So it's exciting. I hope to get the chance to try more of these different shaders, so material. But thank you for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you again in the future.